Hi everyone, shalom shalom from Jaffa. Today we are in Jaffa. So thank you for joining me in our virtual tour of today. And today it's going to be a spectacular, interesting tour because we're going to tour the old city of Jaffa. So I will start my tour with you from the border actually, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show it to you very shortly. From the border where Tel Aviv ends, the south part of Tel Aviv ends, and Jaffa starts. Okay, so we're gonna learn some historical facts about Jaffa. I hope interesting historical facts, and hopefully you will enjoy our tour today in Jaffa. Okay, so this is David Bitan, and I'm happy to be with you. And let's start. Let's start our tour of today. So I wanted to start our tour today with the Etzel Museum. This is the beginning. This is our first spot of the day. And why the Etzel building is so important, we will get to that later on our virtual tour when we will get to the 20th century and what happened here in May 1948, right here exactly where I stand. So we have the Etzel Museum. We have kids playing with an old cannon that used the Etzel forces and the Haganah forces to liberate Jaffa. And of course, our sign in memory of the liberators of Jaffa, Beta Etzel, Etzel House, one of the three undergrounds, Palmach, Lehi, and Etzel. So let me take you to a little a walk. Okay, so this is remember stone for all the soldiers, the fallen soldiers who failed to liberate Jaffa. It says Chayeem Milchama. Their life was a war. Their death, Motam Gvura, heroism. Korbanam Gdusha. The sacrifice is sacred. Zichram Netzach. We will remember them forever. So these are the brave soldiers who liberated Jaffa in May 13, 1948. So where are we? So here the tall buildings that you see is Neve Tzedek. We had the tour in Neve Tzedek, which was the first Jewish neighborhood established in Tel Aviv in 1909. So now you can see that around Neve Tzedek, they've built those huge buildings with a lot of approximately 30, 40 floors. Now we look a little bit to the north, and maybe I can zoom in to Hassan Bek Mosque. Yes. So I hope you can see between the two buildings, mosque tower. And we will get to this mosque tower later on our tour, and I will share with you some historical facts about this Hassan Bek. This is the name of the mosque. Now, of course, the beautiful Mediterranean. So now, basically, we are looking west, and our tour now. I will go south now. I will go south along the beach, along the Mediterranean, and while I'm walking, I will give you some historical facts about Jaffa. And in about 5 minutes, it's about 5-7 minutes walk, I will get to Jaffa Old City, which our main part of our tour will be today. So until I get there, enjoy during the Yafo, from the word Yafa, beauty in Hebrew. Yafa is beauty, and this is the source of the name Yafo, Yafa, and from ancient time, people thought that Jaffa is beautiful. So every time I'll say Yafo or Jaffa, sometimes I'll say it in Hebrew, sometimes I'll say it in English, but we're talking about exactly the same place. So Yafo, imagine that, was mentioned in the Bible. So this is how old Jaffa is. Can you believe Jaffa is 3,500 years old? And Yonah, the prophet Yonah Navi, is mentioning Yafo in the Bible, and not only him, by the way. Jaffa is mentioned 4 times in the Bible. So we do have Jewish presence since the time of the Bible. So imagine that. We're going to tour today in a city that is approximately old as Jerusalem. And why Jaffa was so important throughout history and throughout the decades and thousands of years, I will tell you later on while we get to the city. So now I'm moving from Tel Aviv to the old city of Jaffa, and I would like to share with you some information, some details about the city, what happened here in ancient times, and what was the last events. Unfortunately, we had pretty bad events in Jaffa a few weeks ago with a massive fights and collisions between Jews and Muslims, all Israeli citizens, of course. We had some very difficult moments here a few weeks ago, and I can tell you that Yafo, throughout the years, because you have Christians and because you have Muslims and because you have Jews, so you have all these times and all those moments. We didn't experience only peaceful tolerance moments between the 3 communities. So we faced throughout history some collisions, some lack of tolerance between the different communities, between the different religions. And unfortunately, even a few weeks ago, those ugly and unnecessary moments came again as a part of the reality when the different communities that live, and yes, we face peaceful time as well, like now, for example, but sometimes we do have, I have to say, maybe underground forces that are pushing both sides to have major disagreements and major arguments and fights. So if you will see a lot of police presence, you will understand why this is the situation. They're trying to bring things as they were before the riots and the events that we had a few weeks ago, because everybody understands the importance of peace, the importance of quiet life in Jaffa, when Jews and Muslims can live, and Christians, of course, can live peacefully and in harmony together in this mixed community. I will share with you the beautiful.
The view is crazy. The view is absolutely crazy.
Thank you, Tanya. So you enjoyed the walk with me. It's good. If you have a question until now, until I get to the old city, which is going to take me maybe 4 minutes, so I'll be happy to answer. So here you can see the beautiful Satai Hotel. They renew this hotel. It used to be a Christian fortress because the Crusaders who came here along the years 1099, they've built those fortresses, and because of the port of Jaffa, which you see here, this is the entrance of the port right here. So Jaffa throughout history was a very interesting place, and you'll be amazed leaders who came here and stayed in Jaffa and visited Jaffa, including, of course, Herzl, who was here, and Napoleon, who came here, because you need to understand that Jaffa was the main port of Eretz Israel. So the newcomers, for example, who arrived here during the 20s and the 30s and 40s, arrived until the port in Tel Aviv opened. So until then, until the new port of Tel Aviv opened, the main port of the land of Israel was Jaffa. So you can see here the Satai. As you can see, basically it's an old fortress. Can you believe the way they turned this beautiful, beautiful hotel? We used to be, as I said, ancient Christian fortress. I'm getting there. And I very shortly will reach the old city of Jaffa. I'm really, really getting there. So now you can see the entrance. So this is like the north entrance to the old city. Okay, and a lot of people are coming here to have weddings and to have beautiful pictures. So it's a very popular place to visit. Israelis and tourists as well come here to the old city in Jaffa, and a lot of people are coming here in their wedding day, taking pictures here. Okay, so this is another mosque, as you can see here. And as I said in the beginning, I want to share with you why those towers of the mosques are so important in ancient days as they are today. So I will start with ancient days, or during the 1948 war.
I interrupt you for a second to ask
Yes.
a question. What is the? Do you know what the total Arab population is in the Tel Aviv area? Meaning including Yafo and Tel Aviv.
Yes. Today we are talking about 30,000. As you can hear the music as well. Okay, I will let you hear the music for a second. Okay, so we're talking about 30,000, the populations of Muslims, Israeli Muslims that has equal rights. They are Israeli citizens. They vote for the Israeli parliament. They can work. They can be whatever they want to be. They have fully civilian rights. They have fully social rights. They have fully economic rights, and they are in this region mainly. In Tel Aviv, that you don't have too many Muslims in Tel Aviv. Most of those 30,000 that I've mentioned live in Yafo. So I'll get back to the tower of the mosque. Okay, so you can see speakers. I will zoom in a little bit so you can see the speakers. Okay, so this is what we call the muazzin speakers. So maybe while we have the tour, you will hear some words in about the tower. But the second reason is that basically during the war, 1948 war, they used the tower for snipers. So you had snipers, in those balconies that I hope that you can see. And those snipers, basically, they had the advantage of being high and to see everything below. And they used this holy place to put snipers on the roof. So those snipers could turn the life of the people in Tel Aviv incredibly difficult. And as you can see, those towers are still there. I mean, even though we knew that they are using the holy place to attack Jews, we didn't do anything. We didn't destroy them. We didn't attack them. We just took the snipers out. So this is the old city in Jaffa. So you have, of course, Jaffa Museum, and it's pretty amazing to see how the old city of Jaffa pretty much stayed, and the architecture situation of the different buildings, even the stairs, are pretty much as they were a few hundreds and few thousands years ago. And while I'm walking in the old streets of Jaffa, Tanya will help me to share with you the story of the Hammam. Okay, it's the bath house. So,
all right, you have to come in closer. I can read it. Okay, the bathhouse was in operation here during the 19th century and served visitors to the nearby Saraya. The institution of the public bathhouse was born in the Middle East during the time of the Roman Empire and spread throughout the world. Public bathhouses conformed to the purification customs of Islam and became important social centers in every Ottoman city.
Thank you very much for reading for us what the Hammam is. So the Hammam is it's a Turkish word. Basically, it's a bathhouse, and this is where people used to take their bath. Now the Hammam you see here is a very famous cultural place. So you will have here not only, of course, the Hammam itself, but you will have shows and singers, cultural place. And the Hammam of itself, the spa, it became a spa, of course. So they kept the name, but they turned it into a spa. So, well, we're going to move of the V, Jonah the prophet, and we will move to the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire as well during the Second Temple used Jaffa port to bring troops and to send them wherever they needed throughout the land of Israel. This is an amphitheater right here. So today, for example, we have a show. The band, they prepare themselves with all the electronics and all the lights. So apparently a few hours from now, we will have a show. Okay, so I will move now across the stairs. And as I said, so from the Bible throughout the second period time, the Second Temple. So Jaffa was always a vibrant, interesting place. Commerce, the level of commerce was very high here because everything came here. Even Shlomo HaMelech said that the wood that they brought from Lebanon to build the temple parked here in Jaffa. So imagine that the port of Jaffa used ancient empires like the Roman Empire as well. I have to say that during the time of the Mamluks and the Ottoman Empire, uh, the Jewish community here suffered pretty much, especially during the Roman Empire, the Ottoman, excuse me, the Ottoman Empire, because when the war started, Jews got the order from the Sultan, from the Sultan of the empire, to join the Ottoman forces. Now imagine that, from 15,000 Jewish citizens in 1914, in the end of the war, in 1917, when the British took over, they only approximately 7,500 Jews stayed in Jaffa. So imagine that the population of the Jews in Jaffa was cut to half. So a little story about the bridge that I just walked through. Tanya, can you read this, or I will read it? An ancient legend holds
that anyone boarding yeah, I can read it. An ancient legend holds that anyone boarding the bridge holds its zodiac sign and looks at the sea, their wish will come true. Oh my gosh. All right, everybody, let's clamor to get Powerball tickets.
Okay, so this is the bridge. So if you come to Old City in Jaffa, I mentioned before, not only Muslims lived here, but Jews as well. As you can see, we have this church right here. So we have a Christian community as well in Jaffa. Okay, so while the Jewish population were cut 50%, of course the Muslim population went in. Okay, so during the Ottoman Empire, the population of Muslims were the majority here. Okay, they were the majority until, of course, 1948, and I will get to that later on. So we're facing a community, a combined community of Jews, of Christians, of Muslims, and this is why this place fascinated a lot of leaders, as I've mentioned before, who came here to Jaffa and wanted to see how those community live together. And even Herzl, even Benjamin Zev Herzl came here, visited here in 1898, and he understood the importance of the city. He understood why the office of Israel, the main office, would take care of locations and buying land and whatever the need was of the new settlers came from Europe. So the main Misrad Eretz Israeli, as we call it, was here in Jaffa. So it was like a main city, not a capital, of course, but almost a capital of ancient days and ancient times. Okay, so now I'm going towards the port, and you will enjoy with me the way to the port until I get there, and I'll say a few words about the port. You can see how old the buildings are and how they preserve the buildings. How
the
they
stones
kept the
remind me. The stones remind me of Yerushalayim a little bit.
It's not a coincidence, Tanya. It's not a coincidence. They were built, as I've mentioned, approximately the same time. So Jerusalem, of course, was before Jaffa, but Jaffa, as I've mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, was built 3,500 years ago. So we have a nice room here. We'll get married, as you see, as I've mentioned. So it's gonna take some nice pictures. חבר'ה, איך אני יורד לנמל מפה? תודה. מזל טוב. צדיק, מזל טוב. יאללה, מזל טוב, שיהיה בשעה טובה ובהצלחה. עם ישראל חי, תודה. Okay, so you see, we just got a broom. Okay, so now I'm walking in those tiny little streets towards the port, to the port. So I have to go this way. So few words about the port before I get there. So we're facing a situation where not only in 1921, we had very difficult situation between Jews and Arabs here in Jaffa, and we had riots and Jews were murdered, but the main revolt and main hard times of Jaffa before the establishment of the State of Israel was 1936 to 1939. So during those days, the Arab here in Jaffa decided to close the port because they knew it was the gate to the land of Israel. So they said, you know what? No goods, no fruits, no wood, no stone, nothing will get in because they were the main port, the only port. So you see how it beautifully stayed as it was. And guess what? They are closing the port, and they basically wanted to bring damages to the British Empire, who were here. So the British Empire couldn't get the troops, couldn't get food, ammunition, or whatever the British troops, the British mandate needed here during the 30s. So I will take my camera now to the north, and you will see that not more than 2 miles from here, 2 miles north. So this is the port of Jaffa right here. So we are in the port. Okay, that was the main entrance gate, the main for the Aliyah, for whatever the British mandate needed. That was the gate. Now, if we go 2-3 miles, and I will zoom in my camera a little bit. So see what here the buildings are. So it's not more than 2-3 miles from here. This is where they built the port of Tel Aviv. So imagine that. They were sure that by closing the port, they will bring like a shutdown to the British mandate, to the establishment, to continue the establishment of the State of Israel, and it turns upside down because not only that it was not meaningful to the Jews or to the British, but they hurt themselves basically. While they were closing the port during 3 years, imagine that. From 1936 to 1939, they closed the port. So of course, who got hurt by it? The people who worked here in the port, the people who used to live, from the port, fishing or whatever the port supplies to the Muslim citizens here in Jaffa, and that was the basically the end of this port that was very significant throughout thousands of years until, as I said, 1936. Now I'll get some water so you'll excuse me for a second. I will drink and we will enjoy the port sightseeing. Okay. Tanya, if you have any question for me until now, so it will be a good time to ask it. And if not, I'll continue the tour.
No, you can continue.
Okay, very good. So as I said, Napoleon was here with his troops, and the Romans were here, and Herzl was here, and all those great leaders came here to Jaffa and walk here on the same stones that I'm walking right now. And now I want to get. I will move forward to the 40s, because this is where the independent Jaffa stopped to be as a city. Okay, because since 1948, since the establishment of the State of Israel, Jaffa is a part of Tel Aviv. So you will see the all signs, Tel Aviv Yafo, Tel Aviv Yafo. So Yafo is like a quartier. It's like now a part of Tel Aviv. And the reason of that was that we wanted to integrate Jaffa into the main city of the State of Israel. We want them to feel like they are part of it. And when they took the decision to have Jaffa as a part of Tel Aviv, it was to supply the citizens of Jaffa all the system they needed, because as we know, Tel Aviv is a very strong municipality, and we want to use the power of Tel Aviv to help Jaffa and the citizens of Jaffa to live their lives. So I will move now to basically May 1948. And this is a very unique time and a very delicate situation, because we are now facing the War of Independence, the second stage. The first stage was from the declaration of the UN declaration in November 29th, 1947, to the end of the British mandate. Okay, so we are really like in the end of the British mandate presence in Israel, where May 13, 1948, we are very close to the declaration of Ben-Gurion of the State of Israel. And in May 13th, 1948, the Etzel, together with the Palmach, are launching the Hametz operation. Now, Hametz, as we all know, it's the non-kosher food in Passover. And why they name it Hametz? It's very logic, because the fight to liberate Jaffa was during Passover. So they decided to call this operation of the liberation of Jaffa Mivtza Hametz, or Hametz operation. And that was the situation where we are fighting to liberate Jaffa from the hostile history that the city of Tel Aviv had from Jaffa. So I'm talking about the riots of 1921, 1920, 1921, 1936. So the Haganah and the Etzel took the decision to put an end to it and to stop any kind of military activity from Jaffa, as I've mentioned, to use the mosque with snipers, and to have different terror activities throughout the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s. So, Mivtza Hametz operation, 1948, started right here, and the end of the story is that the Etzel and the Haganah were able to liberate the city of Jaffa, and since then, as I said, is a part of Tel Aviv. So now, what happened to the Arab population? This is a big question. But it depends on the political view, it depends on all your political ideas. So some of them will tell you they fled away, they ran away. Some of them will tell you that they were expelled and the Nakba started. And so you will have different explanations from different people about what happened to the majority of the Muslims in Jaffa after the Hametz operation. Now, each and every one of you can hold a different position about this situation. I will give you the numbers, okay? Because the numbers are important. So we're talking about 85% of Arabs, of Muslims Arabs, that didn't stay in Jaffa during the war and after the liberation in Jaffa. Okay, they were not here anymore. The majority of them went to Gaza, by the way. They fled to Gaza. So until today, you have Muslims in Gaza that claim their houses, they claim they're holding the keys of their houses and talking about the Nakba. Some of them fled to Lebanon, and as well, all the refugee camps that we know from Lebanon. So some of them lived here in Jaffa. But the main question of the story is, were they expelled? Did they flee away because the Arabs promised that the Jewish state will be exterminated with few days, and they will live for 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so, and then they will get back because the Jewish state will no longer exist? So you have different perspective about this issue. It's a big issue until today. Haq al-Dawla in Arabic, which means the right of return. Do they have the right of return? People who fled away, who ran away, or were expelled from here. So this is a very, very delicate political situation. And this is why Jaffa is still militant, because the history of the Muslim community since 1948 is not very clear. It's not like nobody can say that he got the truth 100% about what happened here. So of course, few families were in the middle of the Hametz operation, and they were bombarded. So they left, and some of them listened to the orders of the Arab leaders of those days, who told them, "Listen, don't stay. Don't stay. There is a war going on. We want to attack the Jews, and you'll get back as we will be done with the Jewish state." So you have different perspectives, different ideologies about what happened here, and this is why even 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, something like that, yeah, a little bit more maybe. Yeah, we're in August, so maybe 2 months from now. So you see here another mosque, another tower. So this is like the third mosque that we see, and as you see, the Israeli government, the Israeli regime really are 100% tolerance, not touching those mosques, not attacking holy places. They are still in very good condition, as you can see, and this is the true strength of Israel, letting people to live with their own religions and their own beliefs without causing them any issues whatsoever. So you can see the truth of the Israeli democracy and the truth of the Israeli tolerance. I can tell you that the situation of Bet Knessets in Arab countries is not like this, but this is a different story. So I will end my presentation in the last events, unfortunately, that we had in Jaffa. So a few weeks ago, I believe it was in May or June, something like this, suddenly we had a very difficult situation between Jews and Arabs here in Jaffa. We had riots, we had lynch, we had PLO flags all over the place. We had burning tires. We had really hard riots, and it was during the Shomer HaChomot, the guarding of the walls operation in Gaza. So basically, what we had here, we had local Israeli citizens, Muslim, fighting with the Hamas, while the IDF is fighting the Hamas, fighting the rockets. So they got engaged. Again, another mistake, I believe, because they are, as I said, Israeli citizens, and you cannot defend, or you cannot protect, or you cannot support the people who basically launching rockets towards you. When the IDF Iron Dome is intercepting the rockets from Gaza, some of them were towards Jaffa, towards Muslim communities. So we face this delicate situation. Now, I have to say, as you can see, I'm walking People are peaceful, enjoying their summer vacation, and we're facing uh, good moments here. So the last sign I would like to share with you is the little story about the tower. So Tanya, are you ready?
Okay, so the tower. On this site stood a tower that joined the city's walls with the sea wall. Along the promenade are the remnants of two walls. The earlier, from the Crusade period, bears witness to fortification of Jaffa in 1252, 1253 by the knights of Louis IX, King of France. The latter wall in 1816, the governor of Jaffa, Muhammad Aga Nabut, repaired and reinforced the wall built with the renewal of settlement in Jaffa in the late 17th century. This is the Ottoman wall marked in the pavement. The wall was dismantled when this street was widened at the beginning of the 20th century in order to ease traffic between the port and the railway station.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you very much for your help. So the station, the train station, is really half a mile from here, and so you understand the importance of Jaffa. So you have a port, you have a main train station that, of course, took the troops, took the goods towards Jerusalem. That was the line from Jaffa to Jerusalem. So here I conclude my virtual tour of today. I hope you had a good time with me. Tanya, if you have any other question, that would be a good time to ask them. And so I'll be waiting here and let you enjoy.
No, we're just enjoying the view.
Okay, so I'll let you enjoy the view. That's a good idea. So this is basically what you see when you approach Israel. The coastline of Israel and Ben Gurion Airport is really 2 minutes from here. Flight, 2 minutes flight, of course. So that was the story of Jaffa. Maybe I will let you see the famous clock of Jaffa while I'm adding to the end of our trip today. And so for now, enjoy the sightseeing, enjoy the buildings of Tel Aviv. And I will get in a few moments to the main entrance to Jaffa, what we call Kikar HaSha'on, the clock intersection of Jaffa, the entrance of Jaffa. Any questions, Tanya? Any remarks, thoughts? Something you'd like to share with us? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main entrance of Jaffa, and we have the famous Kikar HaSha'on, Abdul Hamid II, the Ottoman Sultan, built the tower, and with the clock. So this is like the most recognized symbol of Jaffa. And it shows us the importance that they gave to the city, because only in Jaffa, you had this kind of high tower with a clock in the top of it. Okay. And this is where I will say thank you again. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being
so
with me.
much.
It was a pleasure, as always, sharing with you sightseeing of Israel. I hope you enjoyed the tour, enjoyed the history of Jaffa from Yonah Navi to 4 weeks ago or a few weeks ago. And Jaffa, as you can see, peaceful, vibrant, a lot of tourists. Some tourists are here. Music, coffee shops. So we're living in peace. We're living in peace right now. So it's all good. So I say shalom to you from Jaffa, and I hope to see you again in our next tour. So big hugs from Israel and shalom. Bye bye.